Okay, yeah, so either the night that I had gotten there or potentially the next night. One important thing is I called that private investigator and I said, or no, he had called me back after I had left him a message. It was a private investigator located in Texas. And, of course, I had left my name and number with him. And, when I was on the phone with him, I was telling him what was going on, and he was like, well, you've got to meet in person. And I remember he was like, where are you? And I was just like, oh, I can't disclose where I was on the phone with him. I was like, oh, I'm so sorry, I can't disclose where I'm at. I'm in a different city. I had just touched down in Salt Lake at that point. And then I was like, I was like, he was like, well, we should meet up in person so that you don't, because whoever this is, they might be listening to your phone call. That's important because I had already said to someone that I was worried that, whatever technology these people had access to it clearly involved technology because of the whole tracking device on the vehicle thing. But, his whole thing was we need to meet up in person. So I was like, no, whatever. That's not going to be possible. And I just thought he was trying to sell me on something. He's a private investigator. That's his job. So whatever. I'll pull back to that later. I want to take one pause to go ahead and do an aside. So one of the vehicles, before I forget. Yes, okay, so remember I said that when I was driving throughout Texas, random places, trying to scramble my location and lose my tail, one of the vehicles that I took note was definitely following me was a dark orange Jeep with a bed of the truck in it. Like, how there's a regular Jeep size and then plus the truck part. Those weird vehicles, they stick out, right? You take notice of them because they're kind of rare. Okay, so that's important. So let me harken back now. Well, first of all, this is a connection that I didn't even make until, probably August. I was reading something about pimp behavior and whatever, and it was probably late August, about the methods that pimps use. And I don't remember exactly what it was called, but it was a setup method where they have two people. One of them meant to kind of, set your safety alarm off / make you feel intimidated or followed. And then the rescue pimp to rescue, to try to make you feel like you need protection, right? Okay, so before any of this happened, when I was in Stanford, it was way before any of this happened. I'm not going to say exactly who, only because I care about, I had been taking a shower at a female friend's house. That female had a son who lived out of state and came home. Again, this is before the first rape, before any of that. I'm pretty sure this was before I ever went to Gil's house to take a shower. that first time. So that this son of the person whose house I had been taking showers at, she was extremely kind. She still is. She went out of her way to tell me to shower at her house. Like, she would stop my car, ask me where I'm going. For example, I told her I was going to go to a hotel that I had stayed at before, 40 minutes away, to ask them to let me take a shower there, and she was like, no, come take a shower here. Like, she was extremely kind, and was my friend. Well, her son was in town. Her son went out of his way to say, oh, hey, can I talk to you? And I was like, sure. This is my friend's family, so of course I'm like, sure. So he comes and talks to me, whatever. The majority of what he had to say was normal, but he quickly turned on my alarm bells as someone I didn't really want to talk to, because he was like, I'm just going to say it. It was my next door neighbor at the property that I had my shell of a tiny home on. I'm sorry, this is nothing against you, neighbor. If you ever see this, it's nothing at all against you, but I have to get this information out there because it's part of this whole thing. Again, this is a town that's 80% Medicaid. So he's like, one of the things he kept emphasizing, he said two different things. He was like, the whole thread of what he had to say to me was in the vein of, you don't belong here kind of thing. And he was like being obviously rude about it. He was like, well, you live next door. Sorry, pause. As soon as he saw me walking by, I had gone for a walk, and I was coming back from my walk to my building, where obviously my building and my car were, and of course I have to walk past his mom's house to get to my property. I am allowed to walk, it's my physical therapy. I'm allowed to walk. What kind of messed up world are we living in that a female walking alone is seen as a prostitution thing? Anyways, that's a whole nother topic.